Hey, welcome back to the show. I thought today we'll have another go at capturing Metallica's awesome guitar tone from Ride the Lightning. I'll be running through the Victory VX Kraken Mark II, the 50-watt version, along with a few different pedals, and then simulating the G12-65 speakers that were actually used on the record with the 2-notes Torpedo Captor X, so stick around. The guitar tone on Ride the Lightning was just so aggressive. I think it stands up really well to this day. The guitars just had that real edgy, ice picky sort of sound to them. They had loads in the mids, loads in the bass. It's just a really big, heavy, crunchy tone. It was just mixed really well. The guitar amp that was used on the recording was essentially just a Marshall JCM800 with an Ibanez tube screamer in front of it. The huge room ambience that they had set up for the recording wasn't just from a reverb unit, it was actually just the whole room itself, and they had a lot of room mics and everything set up just to capture that huge sound. And for the cabinet that was mostly used on the record, it was a Marshall 412 closed back with the Celestion G12-65 speakers, and they're well known for their heavy bass and really aggressive highs, and according to Fleming Rasmussen they were paired with the Shure SM7 microphone, and that's just the tone that you get. So for me to capture that tone, I'll just quickly run through all the gear and pedals and the way it's all set up. I've got the 50-watt Kraken set on channel 1. We're utilising this gain here. This is the gain for channel 2. And it really is just like a JCM800 style tone. You can see all the controls there. They're fairly neutral. They just seem to be a really sweet spot neutral on this. The presence is wound up fairly high, and the presence on this amp is just really dynamic. And as you turn it up, it just really crunches up and just sounds so old school. But this is the foundation tone. And from there we boost the front end of the amp and tighten things up with the Ibanez tube screamer. For this I have the gain all the way down, I have the output volume all the way up. The tone is just fairly neutral, but this is the tone now. I wasn't sure when I was setting up this guitar tone using this amp which overdrive I'd prefer. That's why the Zakk Wild's just sitting there, but the Ibanez tube screamer does sound more authentic with this tone. Next it goes over, we've got the Fortin Zool noise gate, and this noise gate, it's utilising the effects loop as well as the key in, key through feature, which just routes it straight to the first pedal. It's a really cool noise gate and it's just so adaptive to any guitar amp that you've got. Next we've got the Master Effects Puppet Master EQ, and this is running through the effects loop. You won't get the same sound if you're going through the front end of the amp. It has to go through the effects loop. It's a really cool EQ and it's modelled off Fleming Rasmussen's EQ that he used in the studio for Injustice for All, Master of Puppets. I'm not really sure if they actually use the Affix B&B EQs on Ride the Lightning, but I'm using the EQ here just like they would on a console, just to really fine tune the guitar tone afterwards. And then lastly we've got the Origin Effects Cali 76 compressor pedal. This is also going through the effects loop, and on this album there's loads of compression on those guitars, and again I'm just utilising the compressor like they would in the studio as outboard gear, not on the front side of the amp, to simulate more of that recording sort of tone. And lastly, to output the tone, we're going through the 2-notes Torpedo Captor X, where we can simulate many different cabinets and speaker and microphone combinations with this. It's just a really cool unit. And in this case, I've found a very era-accurate Marshall 412 cab loaded with the same G12-65 speakers on the 2-notes website. It's part of the Dave Friedman collection on the 2-notes store, and it's one of his favourite cabinets. And according to Dave, it's a late 1970s Marshall 412, and he just said it's got a great tone to it and it's got the same G12-65 speakers, so I really think it's going to be a very close sort of match. So that's the whole rig explained. For the guitars that I'm using for the recording, I've got my own lamb guitar with a maple neck, mahogany body, EMG 8181 pickups. And for the other guitar, we've got a Charvel Jodu Planter Signature, and that's loaded with the Duncan SH6 pickups. So I think between all these pickups, I think it'll be very close to the Duncan Invaders that James used on that album. I'll just run through a sound check now. We'll just turn on and off the EQ just to see how that changes the tone. Now I'll do the same thing with the MkII 76 compressor. And I guess the only thing left to do now is just go through a few of the different cabinet models on the Torpedo Captor X. Right now we've just got the G12-65s in that Friedman cab, but if I turn it now, we've got Dave Mustaine 412. This is loaded with vintage 30s. I'll turn it now. This is a standard Marshall 412 with vintage 30s. The next cab simulates my Mesa 112 with the V30 inside. And lastly, this is a Mesa Recto 412 cab that's slanted, loaded with vintage 30s. Now we'll just go back to the G12-65 speakers. I guess there you have it. I just wanted to show all the different variables of all those different speaker combinations and just how they sound with this rig set up. Something to mention though, on all those presets that I just cycled through, all the cabs are all set up pretty much the same with a single SM57 just put in front of it, either between about 35 and 40% off the dust cap. But they're pretty well all set up exactly the same, so you can just really get a feel for the different speakers and how they actually sound. But there you have it guys, really hope you enjoyed today's video. I wasn't even sure if I was going to get the chance to make it as we had a cyclone on Thursday night into early hours of Friday morning. It was a direct hit on Townsville, but luckily it wasn't as bad as that they thought it was going to be and didn't dump too much rain, so the city's done quite well. So all my mates in Townsville, I wish you all the best. Hope that you're not without power for too much longer, but take care guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.